theyeshiva.net.
I'm happy to announce that the average age of the shiur went down from 90 to 14. So I want to welcome our youthful, our young spirits who are attending. We were looking to enhance the longevity of the shiur, so I'm glad. From a koil of skenim, from a koil of haskenim is up to. Okay, so we're in the middle of the page. The line starts. You see the line. Toiv ze malach hachayim, ha'oid ze malach hamavis. I don't know. It's like 10 or 15 lines from the top. Samach Beis, column 1, page 123. You see the line. Toiv ze malach hachayim, ha'oid ze malach hamavis. Shu toiv ma'oid b'li shir ugvul ela shadayin loy bala de gili ve'enim musik. So this was the summation. There is toiv and there is toiv ma'oid. Toiv means it's good. Toiv ma'oid means it's very good. When you say very, there's no limit to very. What does very mean? Very, that's the word. The definition of ma'oid means I have no limit. Ma'oid means very, and as long as you could add to the very, you add. Very good. Very good means beyond. That's what he's explaining. Ma'oid is the word you want to use in Lashon Kodesh when you want to say there's no shear for it. There's no size for it. There's no measurement for it. There's no finite structure for it. And because of that, that is also its flaw. That is also its challenge. It's too big to be contained. It's too infinite to be defined. It's too limitless to be constrained. And hence one cannot have an appreciation for it. This is the meaning of the pasuk we say in Hallel. You see here the diuk. You learn how to be medayik in a pasuk, the precision. Most people read this for years. We say it every Rosh Chodesh, every time we say Hallel. So taka Hallel is a davar chaviv. We learned in Rosh Hashanah today, Daf Chav Zayin in the Gemara, that when Jews say Hallel, there's a special chavivus, there's a special love that Jews have to Hallel. Right? You see it in the Nigunim and everything, and that's why la halacha, even if 10 people say Hallel, 10 chazonim, you could be yotzeh with Shemei Ka'ina, even though usually you can't hear so many voices because it's a special davar chaviv. But nonetheless, we don't always focus on the details of the words. So the pasuk says in Hallel, in the section of before Ana Hashem Aishiyana, min hametz, and the parts that start min hametza. Yasser Yisrani Ka V'Lamavis Leinasanani. Perhaps you remember it at least from the Niggin. Yasser Yisrani Ka Yutke V'Lamavis Leinasanani. What is Yasser Yisrani Yutke? Hashem has chastised me. He's caused me pain. But V'Lamavis Leinasanani. But I didn't die. I'm alive. So the Alter Rebbe teaches, look at the name of Hashem that he uses. He doesn't say Yasa Yisrani Yutke Vavke. Yasa Yisrani Yutke. What's the meaning? Shuhu B'tchilas Hashem. Yutke is the beginning of the name. There's Yutke Vavke. Hashem's name consists of 4 letters. So you have a Yud, you have a Hey, you have a Vav and a Hey. The Yud and the Hey is the beginning of the letters. Vav and the Hey is the end of the letters. So Shuhu B'tchilas Hashem. Yasa Yisrani. Whenever there is Yisurim, whenever there is something challenging, it's coming from the beginning of the name, Yutke. Tchilas his galusai. It's the beginning of the revelation. It has not yet fully been revealed. Ve'enei musik. Hence, it's not comprehended, fathomable in the human mind. It didn't reach a state where it could be manifested and revealed, explained to the person. When you say the word gilui, gilui means something is expressed to you. The difference between thoughts and words, for example. Thoughts are in me. You don't know what I'm thinking. The Gemara says, Ein adam yodeya ma beliba shel chaver. Nobody knows what anybody is thinking. Words, verbal communication, allows you to communicate so somebody else can hear it. When something is in a state of thought before you say it, it's not gilui, it's not revealed. The other person has no access to it. He can guess, he can speculate, right? It's like when you know your wife wants to tell you something, but you're trying to figure out what she wants to tell you. Good luck. It's in a state of, even though it's expected that you already know, right? But not always. Gilui means it's revealed that you actually get it. Yeah. Here, in a more subtle sense, Gilui means something that is revealed to the person, meaning the person really knows what it is. Hela means concealed, the person doesn't know what it is. All Yisurim are affected by the fact that it's Yudke. It's Tchilas Hashem. It didn't trickle down from Yud to Hey to Vav and then to Hey, which will allow it to come down lower and lower and lower to the point that you say, wow, this is awesome. It's something that when you look at it, you say, this is crazy. Do me a favor, find somebody else to be so kind to. As somebody once said, we're the chosen people. Can't you choose somebody else once in a while? Whereas Eli Wiesel used to say, we're chosen, but not always for benefits. You weren't always chosen in the company for benefits. So maybe you could choose somebody else. That comes because it's an Indian of Yutke. What's the Yutke? I don't really see what it is. It's back to our mashal with the Zoyna. It's not Begilui. Begilui, in a revealed way, what are you seeing? You're seeing an obstacle. You're seeing a destructive force. You're seeing a malachamovis. You're seeing something that causes tremendous anxiety, tremendous pain. That's what you're seeing. You don't see it for what it really is because you can't see the pnimius. Why can't you see the pnimius? Because it's concealed. Toiv hanire v'hanigla means that the good is visible. The good is revealed. The good is exposed. In other words, it goes through a tzimtzum. So that's the interesting, fascinating paradox. The more tzimtzum, the more good. The more revealed goodness. The more the goodness is restricted, the more you identify it as good. The less the goodness is restricted, the more expansive, the less you define it as good. Because it's...
Not at the moment, it's again for the future.
What do you mean? At the moment also.
He started with the Tukan Mashash. And now he's talking about when you have pain, it's going to be good. Not if you go back, it should be good.
He's not talking about what it's gonna be. He's talking about the present experience. Every experience in life, even an experience that l'cha'oira is very challenging. He says, if you go to the shoyresh of it, if you go to the root of it, if you go to the core of it, you will find that it's toiv. All dinim are nimtik b'sharsha. That was the mashal of the Zohar, the mashal HaZoyne and Ben HaMelech. And the reason is because since everything in the world comes from Hashem, nothing in the world is independent of the divine energy. So even something that is l'cha'ira mamish ra, negative, even something like the Zoyna that is fighting Hashem, that also comes from Hashem. The chiyus of that person or that thing to go against the Rebbeinu Shalom is also part of Hashem. That kufa is divine. The question is, it's a paradox. The divine is fueling that which is contrary to the divine. That's the mashal that the Zohar gives, that itself is a manifestation of the divine. However, the way it evolves, the way it comes down, the way it appears to a person in this world is as Ra. Whatever that type of Ra is. If it's a horrible taiva, let's talk about the mashal hazayin. A person is having a horrible, horrible taiva. Not pain in the sense of a tragedy, chas v'shalom. Pain in the sense of something that's driving him crazy. He's having a crazy, crazy taiva to something. What did you say to Moshe?
I have a list.
You want to read it out loud?
Confession.
We do confession also. We can go into the booth. Right behind you there's a booth. So a person has these strong cravings. Yeah, it's Ra. What are you? You're not desiring to do something good. You're desiring to do something that is destructive. Yeah, the person wants to rob a bank. Okay, whatever it is, whatever the Ra is, big, small, very small. It's not negeya here. What? It's negeya the idea. Ultimately, this is Ra. You can't say, "Oh, this is a wonderful taiva. Go do it. Go pursue it. It's exactly what you need. Go break his windows. Sure. Go slash all of his tires and kill him in the process too." It's Ra. The davar Ra. Whatever it may be. Achilas trefus, chilul Shabbos, gilui arayos, whatever it may be. But I say this. Ultimately, this Ra is being fed. It has an energy. It has an identity. It can't exist without energy. Nothing can exist without energy. Everything needs energy. Everything needs oxygen. Who is giving it its oxygen? So you'll say Klippa, Tumma, Sitrach. Fine. But go back. Who is ultimately giving it its oxygen? Only one source, God. That means that at the core, at the pnimius, at the shirish, go to the tree. Go dig, deep down. Maybe you got to go 100 miles down. But you're going to find roots. And the ultimate root is going to be toiv. What that means is that it can be transformed. Ultimately, its purpose, its true context is to serve you good, to help you. How? That depends. Sometimes to challenge, to provoke, to intrigue, to make you humble, to help you confront, subdue, flex your muscles, find your strength, sometimes to be transformed. That's every challenge in its own way. Sometimes you have to run, and sometimes you have to embrace. Sometimes you have to flee, and sometimes you have to sublimate. That's, again, every designer, right, you have to run from. Like Yosef. Vayanas, Vayetze Achutza. But Satan upnina l'shem shamayim niskavnu. Don't think the Satan is not from God. There's no two worlds. There's no one world of Hashem and one world where the Satan rules. That's not Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is there's one world. Everything is one. Hashem Echad doesn't mean there's one God only. It means God is one, means where there's God, there's oneness. Hashem Echad does not, the Baal Shem Tov used to teach, doesn't mean there's one God. There's not 1,000 gods. There's not a God of the wind, God of the fire, God of the water, God of the sun, God of the moon, God of the man, God of the woman, this king, that king. That was the old pagan idea of polytheism. And Yiddishkeit came and taught monotheism. Monotheism means not many gods, but one God. That's basics. But that most people don't have a struggle with today, right? I mean, maybe credit cards and money, that, yeah, iPhones maybe. But generally, fine, there's one God, but there's a much deeper struggle. That's what the Baal Shem Tov used to always emphasize. That Hashem Echad means God is oneness. Meaning, to understand that there's God means to understand that there's oneness. There's only God. Where there's Hashem, everything is part of it. There's nothing not part of it. Echad, the only reality. Where there's Hashem, there's complete Achdus. Why? There's so many things going on in the world. Einoid Mulvadi, there's nothing outside of him. What do you mean there's nothing outside of him? What about this crazy taiva that I'm having? What about this meshugana situation, or horrible situation? Whether it's in Avodas Hashem, whether it's another issue in life? And the answer is, go to the Shoirish. And in the Shoirish, it's all Elikus. And if it's all Elikus, it's Toiv. Even the Satan is L'Shem Shamayim. Even though down here, the Satan is a Satan. Satan is not your friend. And the way to be Megala, the Shem Shamayim and everything, is not always by saying, you're my best friend. It's sometimes by saying, get out of here. I will not be affected by your outer appearance. But the outer appearance is not the inner appearance. So yes, but may will affect the future also. It affects the past. But he's talking also the hashkaf in the present moment. Did I answer your question? Probably not. Ask your question again, it's fine.
Why is it a bigger?
Why don't you ask it from a more practical perspective? I think it'll be clear. If you want to. Because I'm not understanding your question.
The Shoshan sounds like the past, and Yassi Yisrami Kohen, he says the way it sounds like the future. Nothing's about the present.
Why do you say that?
It says to start to get closer.
When you say B'sharshe means the past, that's not accurate. I gave a dugma in psychology that sometimes when a person is experiencing a very negative emotion, if you'll go to the past and you will see how it developed, you will see that he's really a very sweet guy, or she's really very sweet. The negativity is rooted in positivity. But that's just one example to go back to the Shoirish. But it doesn't only mean the past. It means whenever you take something to the Shoirish, you will see that it's sweet. In a person's life, that may mean go into his past. But Shoirish doesn't mean past. Shoirish is always right now. A tree lives from its shoyrish right now. The shoyrish is there, it's just not visible. You understand? Whenever you speak about a shoyrish, you're not speaking about the past or the future. It's always the present. It's also the past and also the future. The shoyrish is always there. Nothing lives without a shoyrish. A tree can't live without roots. If you sever a tree from its roots, it's dead. That's called cutting off a branch. It's lifeless. You go and you take out the roots, there's no tree anymore. It dies immediately. That's its nutrients. It's like taking a brain out of a person's skull. They're not going to live anymore. It's a beautiful, wonderful body, very strong, fine. But you take out that little jelly or jello, it's gone. That's the shoyrish, right? In a tree, there's shoyrish, there's roots. You take away the foundations from a house, the house crumbles. The shoyrish is always there. It's just invisible. Shoyrish means going to the invisible root and core of everything in life, and you will find there the divine. That's the word. Klar? B'meila, it means the past also, it means the future also, but it means the present. So Yasser Yisrani Yudke. Why is it Yasser? Because it's only Yudke. So it's two things. First of all, it's Yudke, but it's only Yudke, it's not Vavke. So therefore it didn't trickle down. Every letter is another descent in the evolution of energy, which becomes more concealed, more restricted, so that it can be contained by the person. You have the genius teacher giving his shiur. Yudke would mean he's still communicating from a higher level. He didn't bring it down, so no one knows what he's talking about. All they say is, I'm completely confused. I'm completely confused. So here's the difference between two types of students. One student says, this is the worst teacher in the world. I'm not coming back again. Right? The other one says, no. He gave me so much depth today, I'm not going away from this. I'm going to stick it out. Right? Now, which types of students are you guys? Which ones? You'll see two types of people. One person, if something is not spoon-fed, I don't go home satisfied. I didn't get a full course meal. You know, a full course meal where you eat more, and then we get nachagreps, right? It's not for me. I need to be spoon-fed. I should feel good. The moment it's above my head, I'm not busy. I'm not going to be busy with this. But that's really a very superficial student, because all he wants is to be fed on his terms. The moment he's not fed on his terms, the Beis Yisrael, the Ger Rebbe was a sharfe Yid. But at his tish there was no food. It's very schwache food, you know, the Ger tish and alike. So there were a lot of Ger Chassidim. Friday night they would first go to the Stropkefe. Who was it? Wer hat es gewesen? Stropkev, yeah? They would go to the Stropkev before they came to him. And his wife would prepare as a tish kiyad hamelach. They would eat there everything they ate, and then they would come to the Beis Yisrael. So somebody once told me, a Ger Chassid once said, Beis Yisrael sees him, and he was sleeping and doing some other stuff by the tish. He says, Essen esste beim Stropkever. Und da kommst du grebzen. Eating, you go eat by him. And here you come, basically, to burp. I don't need these type of Chassidim. Essen esste beim Stropkever. Und da kommst du das. But it's a mashal in life. He was trying to bring out an idea. The idea is, there's two students. One student, as long as he gave me that beautiful presentation, great. The moment it didn't sit well with me, it was confusing, it was challenging, I'm out. I shut down. But that's a very superficial student. The real student says, wow, I was invited today into a higher place. Let me embrace it. It's confusing. Of course it's confusing. You were taken out of your comfort zone. You were taken from Vovke into Yutke. You were taken to a higher place. It didn't come down so much. Because it didn't come down so much, it's very confusing. Because it's very confusing, it doesn't sit well with you. So that's an invitation. Stay with it. Think about it. Work it through. Meditate on it. And you know what? In 6 months, you may become a different person because of that. Whenever somebody tells you something that feels good, it feels good, but it's not good. When somebody tells you something that doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good, but it's usually good. Because from a compliment, you don't grow. From a compliment, you become smug. From critique, you grow. So what do you want to hear in life? You want to hear compliments or you want to hear critique? You want to hear how wonderful you are? It's great, but it's not going to help you. So you hear you're wonderful. I knew I was wonderful, and now I hear I'm wonderful. Baruch Hashem. I can go back to sleep. When you're challenged, it's not comfortable. Why is it not comfortable? Because it's, who are you in this? But if you sit with it, you may actually grow. These are just simple examples to bring out the idea. Whenever you're invited into a higher plane, into Yutke instead of Vovke, it's Yaso Yisrani. But the word in the pasuk, Yaso Yisrani Yutke. But Vilamovis Loy Nesanani. Don't think this is about death. It's not about killing you. It's about lifting you up. Nisayan, it comes from the word Nisayan, right? Comes from the word Neis Alaharim, which means uplifting. Ki menasa Hashem Elokeichem eschem. The word Neis in Lashon Kodesh means a pole is called a Neis, right? It says here that he put the Nachash on the Neis, on the pole. Nisayan means a test, but really it means to uplift, to elevate. It's there to elevate, but for this you have to see the pnimius of it. If you see only the chitzonis, it's not here to elevate you, it's here to destroy you. This Zaina just wants to kill you. She wants to destroy your reputation as a prince. That's all she wants. Right? It's not the truth. She wants to elevate you. She was sent by the king. He loves you more than anything else. So it's always that mashal. But she can't tell you the truth. She tells you the truth, she defeats the purpose. So b'chitzonius, she looks like Ra. B'pnimius, she's Toiv. Yutke, Vovke, that's the story. When it comes into Vovke, it looks like Toiv. When it stays in Yutke, it doesn't look like Toiv. It looks like Yisur. Rabbi Isaac, du verstehst? What? You could sound silly, it's fine. You think I never sound silly? Cynical. That's also fine.
With more geschmack, no?
Somebody is in great pain.
Like kidney stones. You had a mice with kidney stones. Oh, toothache, my God. Then you need a good dentist.
How does it elevate?
Because you go like this.
I told you already. First of all, you're not being cynical, you're being practical. You're not being cynical, you're being practical. You want to know when somebody has a toothache, how it elevates you. I don't know. You take Tylenol. But in his days, he didn't even have Tylenol.
Percocet elevates you.
Yeah.
Isn't it more
What? You mean it humbles you? That's what you mean.
Show us real cynicism.
That's not cynical. Listen. This is not an easy maimah to digest, I'm telling you. Right? No maimah Likkutei Torah is easy to digest. They're all challenging maimorim. But the Rebbe didn't say nice good to vertlich. He wanted to shake up the world. But this is especially not an easy maimah to digest. This turns around everything. It's something one has to work on, one has to tune into, there's a lot of avodah that's necessary here. A lot of hisbonenus, a lot of meditation. It's reorienting one's paradigms, and we have to confess that emotionally, one cannot always relate to this. I mean, different people are in different places, but pain is pain. And that is part of the process. The fact that it's Yutke, not Vovke, that Torah acknowledges it. You can't start judging yourself and criticizing yourself and hating yourself for the fact that you don't feel this. There is a challenge here. There is a disparity between the way it's above and the way it's below. And halacha acknowledges this. If halacha wouldn't acknowledge this disparity, there wouldn't be any dinim of avelis. You should always dance. Tisha B'Av, we should start dancing. Why are we fasting? It's toiv. It's all toiv. It's all good. V'harayu when Mashiach comes, it's going to be a biggest Yom Tov Tisha B'Av. Why? What's the vart? Why? Why is Tisha B'Av going to be the biggest Yom Tov? L'chayre, it should be a Yom Tov. Or no, it should be a regular day. There's no reason to grieve. There's a Beis HaMikdash. The answer is going to be a bigger Yom Tov. Because all Ra really comes from a deeper Toiv. It's just not, it's Yitofis. So Machzadik writes. It says that all the tiniest are going to be a hafchul simcha, going to be transformed into days of joy. So ask the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rambam brings in Hilchas Tiniest from the Gemara. Ask the Tzemach Tzedek, I don't understand. If a person lost something, chas v'shalom, so they're very upset. They get it back, so it's back to the way it was normally. So Shivasa B'Tammuz, Tisha B'Av, Asar B'Tevis, Sam Gedalia will be regular days because there's nothing to mourn. We have the Beis HaMikdash. Why is it going to be a Yom Tov? The answer is because it's a very edel of art. Whatever comes out as Ra really is a deeper toiv, which is why it's Ra. Because it's Einoi Musag, it's not comprehensible. So when that toiv will get revealed, it becomes greater than any other day. Because Yudke is higher than Vovke. You versteht was ich sag? Atatafasta. Zedover amuk b'ma'oid. It's a very profound idea. That's the point. It's Einoi Musag. It's not Pshat, it's also good. It's a deeper good. That's why you don't get it. Back to my mashal with the shear. When the shear is overwhelmingly confusing, it's because there was a better shear, not a worse shear. The Rav was actually telling you what he thinks. He wasn't just bringing it down. He was giving out his truth, his emes. Whoa, it's too deep. Leave me alone. When you get that, you'll get much deeper than when you get from the regular class. Because it stayed in Yudke, didn't come down in the Vavke. So all the tiniest are going to be greater Yamim Tov. They're going to be greater days than regular days. It's not just a regular day. It's a much deeper day. But that depth doesn't begin when Mashiach comes. It begins now. It's just not Behiz Galus. There's different stages in every experience. There's a moment of confusion, and there's a moment of clarity. Back to the marshal of demolition. When your house is being demolished, you don't make a Chanukas Abayis. It's all renovation. The only reason they're destroying your house is to renovate it. You're right. But it's not yet a Chanukas Abayis. Now, you look at it and you say, let's hope the contractor gets this right after 10 years. And let's hope it doesn't take 2,000 years like the other house we're waiting for the contractor to rebuild it. But the renovation doesn't begin at the end. The renovation started now. The renovation started now. That's the word of the Baditchra with Chazoin, Shabbos Chazoin. Some people see the Churban, but some people in the Churban they see the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. Not later, now, but it's still Shabbos Chazoin. It's not Simchas Torah. It's not a Shabbos, but it's not Simchas Torah.
Is there a Gemara that says somebody has a big fire and become rich?
It's not a Gemara. It's a word from the Kedosh Yalyin. Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid. Noch HaSreife wird man reich. It's a word from Kedosh Yalyin. In Mezhebush there was no insurance, Nochem. In Mezhebush there was no insurance. There was no fire insurance. Probably till today in Mezhebush there's no fire insurance, if I'm not mistaken. The way it looks. There's probably a fire department, but I don't know if there's insurance.
Is it the same concept that this idea that it's a hidden good?
Over there the vart is because the klal is after chesed is din, gvura, and after gvura comes tiferes, which is rachamim. So whenever there's midas hadin, after that there's always his gabrus of midas harachamim. That's the vart over there. Tzemach Tzedek brings. After chesed is din, and after din is always rachamim. You're saying deeper, that in the din there's rachamim. That's the vart here.
No, he wants to say that the pain of the two brings the rachamim.
Okay. Wo sagst du? Habala Tame Poischen. Like that's an Avodah. The Tumah, the Taiva of Tumah is your Pesach Lavodas Hashem. It's very good. It's coming also from Hashem. Fakert, that's your Pesach. That's your Shlichus. That's your mission. Even though its facade is very negative. And when a person has this approach, They cannot start judging themselves. Why don't I feel this? Why don't I feel this? The human emotions are part of the journey. That is part of the journey. A person can't start getting upset at themselves that they don't feel this, they're not in tune with this. We live in a world where the Zoina and the Melech don't look the same. You just don't. You need a lot of avoida in order to be able to even relate to this. Never mind to empathize with it, never mind to experience it, never mind to instinctively experience it. All these levels. Weiter. V'zeu inyan Nochem ish gamzu. Oh. Now we finally come to Nochem. Now we finally come to Nochem. Okay. You used to get attention in class. Now you also get attention in class, but it's different. V'zeu inyan Nochem ish gamzu. And this is the truth about Nochem ish gamzu. The Gemara says, why was he called Nochem? Who named Nochem ish gamzu? Nochem, the man, this also. Who named somebody like that? He is the man of this too. Yeah. Zog the Gemara, shoya oimer gamzu l'toiva. It was a nickname. They used to call him Gamzu because whatever used to happen, he would always have the same response. Gamzu l'toiva, gamzu l'toiva, gamzu l'toiva. So on one level, you could say the guy is in La La Land. Whatever happens, get. Okay, fine, thank you. Punch in the nose, gamzu l'toiva. Punch in the eyes, gamzu l'toiva. You just got a ticket for $900 in Borough Park, gamzu l'toiva. License suspended, avada gamzu l'toiva. Foreclosure, gamzu l'toiva, avada. Your wife says, I'm leaving you, gamzu l'toiva. Altas get. Tuition, they threw your kids out of school, avada gamzu l'toiva, especially this school. That you don't need Nochem ish gamzu, right? V'chuli v'chuli. And then you have more serious things. So what's this inyan of gamzu l'toiva? I'll tell you, it wasn't Stam, he was a good guy, he was a tzaddik, he was a maimin, he was a helikiyid. So Mele always said gamzu l'toiva. The Nochem ish gamzu had gelept with this. Nochem ish gamzu, basically his whole life, he learned this maimin Likkutei Torah. That was Nochem ish gamzu. That's what Nochem did. Nochem every day he learned this maimin. B'meila, this was his whole metzius. So the Gemara says about him, Shoya Omer Gamzu L'Toiva, the Gemara says in Maseches Tainis that this is what he would say. Mipnei Shoya Mizboinen Be'emes Sheshoyre Sherahu HaToiv. Nochem ish gamzu was Mizboinen and Mizboinen Be'emes. There's a difference. Mizboinen means meditate. Be'emes means to realize that it's really true. A person can meditate on something, aber es leikt sich nicht. It ultimately is not settled into me. I don't internalize it. Shoyim Mizboinen Be'emes, that the shoydish of Ra, the shoydish of everything in the world is good. And here's the next step. Veheviyoi l'mayla el sharsha. And he brought it back up to its source. Nochem had the ability to bring everything back to the shoydish. L'makoim ayin. To a place of ayin. To a place of what we call nothingness. And over there, he can actually change it. Like the Gemara says about Reb Chanina ben Doisa. Also, Maseches Tainis Daf Chafei, Mi sha'amar l'shemen v'yadlik chule. The Gemara tells a story. Remember the story about Reb Chanina ben Doisa? He was very, very poor. And his daughter wanted to light candles for Shabbos. There was only vinegar. And she realized there was vinegar and she was horrified. And she was despondent. So her father, Reb Chanina ben Doisa, said, Mi sha'amar l'shemen v'yadlik yoyma l'chaymetz v'yadlik. The one who said to oil to burn will tell the vinegar to burn. What's the Havana here? The same God who told the oil to burn will tell the vinegar to burn. So the vinegar burnt. It's a beautiful candle. The diyuk here in the Balatanya is Misha Omar l'shemen v'yadlik. Chanina ben Doisa could have just said, oh, God can do anything. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. This is not a supernatural vart. It's a spiritually scientific vart. Now I know that's pretty supernatural, but I mean it's not stam. Hashem could do anything, let the vinegar burn. That's not what he said. Misha Omar l'Shemen v'yadlik yom l'chametz v'yadlik. The pshat is this. Reb Chanina ben Doisa saw in everything the Omar. That's what Alter Rebbe explains. He saw the Shoirish. He saw the Dvar Hashem, the letters of Elikus that are Mahave and make the vinegar. To use scientific language, he saw the molecular atomic structure of everything. He looked at a molecule of water. Oh, I see coffee, I see water. What he saw was 2 atoms of hydrogen and an atom of oxygen coming together to create a molecule of water. But each atom itself is so many forces coming together to create an atom. And within the atom, 99% of the atom is empty space. And that's where he saw the divine letters that are coming together to create this atom, which with many atoms together will create this molecule, which will create this object which we call oil. And when you have oil, it creates a fire. If you can go to the Omar, if you can go to the Misha Omar, you can go back to the DNA. It's like the programmer of a computer. I can't do anything with my computer. I barely know how to use the screen when it's displayed. You go to the programmer, yeah, and you go to the back end. You ever see what's happening over there? The guy has Megillas, and nothing is comprehensible. Yeah, and then he puts in a period A, puts in a period A. Is any programmers here? Huh? Okay, so you'll explain it to us, right? It's quite interesting. And there's a whole different display on the outside. But for this, you have to know the codes. You have to know the codes. All we see is the final display for dummies, that we should be able to use our desktops or laptops. Reb Chanina ben Doisa, he knew the code. He knew the program code. Not of a computer. Computer you could still learn. This program code is not so easy to learn. So he said, Misha Omar l'Shemen v'yadlik. For this, in Lashon Achsidus, you have to go to a place of, from a place of Yesh, you have to go to a place of Ayin. Ayin doesn't mean a place of nothingness. Ayin means a place where there's no fixed reality. It's a place of infinite possibilities. That's why it's called Ayin. Ayin doesn't mean it's nothing. It's like there's nothing. You go to Ayin, nothing. Ayin actually is much deeper than Yesh. Yesh means it's already rigid. This is the way it is. This is what the computer is. Go back to the code. It's not. Nothing is rigid. It looks rigid. It's not rigid. There's a dynamic. There's a flow. We just take it for granted. This is what it is. So all miracles, what is really the Shinui of Teva? The Shinui of Teva is basically understanding that nothing is what it is. It's basically a flow. So when Reb Chanina ben Doisa can go back to the Omar, Misha Omar l'Shemen v'yadlik, Yoymar l'Chametz v'yadlik. That's what he did. Over there you could do a hishtanos. The chiddush of Nachum Ish Gamzu is that he could take it back to the Shoirish. He could reveal the root down here below, or bring it back up to the Shoirish. And when you bring it up to the Shoirish, over there can also be a hishtanos. There could be a change. So he says Gamzu l'Toiva.
What's the pshat? Could be a shtanos.
Das darfst du fragen Nachum Ish Gamzu.
Gamzu sounds not as strong of a word as what we're saying here. This is, you should say this is Erish good. This is really good.
Okay.
I'm saying it's not as strong.
You're already, the life's to Atzilus. It's pretty good. For carrot.
Also means it's like it's almost.
Such a Baal Madrege you are. You know, Nachum Ish Gamzu, I see. You want Nachum Ish Gamzu to say, this is Toiva. Everything else, Mela, Shvacha Shir. That's the Psaguta Shir. I understood nothing. It's freaking me out. It's good.
He says he was Mizboina B'emes. It means it was an avoid of him. It wasn't that.
Avada. This is Nachum Ish Gamzu. This was serious stuff. The whole Maisa, we'll soon see. The whole Maisa with the, they stole the jewels and they substituted it with earth. It was a churban l'chayr, right? Somebody takes away all your jewelry that you bought for the king and fills it up with earth, yeah? Say Gamzu l'toiv. I mean, it's nice when you know the end of the story, but when you don't know the end of the story, it's pretty sad.
His mala was Gamzi, that he actually worked to see it. It wasn't like natural.
A few nights after my wedding, somebody broke into my shviga's house and stole all the gifts, everything. We got a lot of stuff, and somebody gave us a whole, whatever they had, a store, they gave us a whole set of, everything was stolen, everything. Right? So the end of the story is that it was still stolen. But here there was a different end of the story. It happened so fast, it was actually not so bad because we didn't even get to see it. We We just know it was a lot. Next, let's start over again. Let's make believe there were no gifts. But the end of the story, it's different. But he did it in the beginning of the story. And the Chiddush was Zu. He could see it in Zu. Okay, you want to know what it means to make a Hishtanas. So we'll soon see. We'll soon see what Hishtanas means. Okay.
This class is brought to you by the yeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.